commodity I know of is information. Wouldn't you agree?
Hey, what's going on, Garaudy? Let me stop laughing. I love this. That's why this is live, man. But anyway, hey, how you guys are doing, man? This is Garaudy, your local real estate agent here in South Florida. Just appreciate you guys taking time on this holiday week. You know, this is a big week for a lot of us. This is Thanksgiving, so pray that you guys is looking forward to spend some quality time with your family. Also, got to throw in, as always, we'd like to share with you guys that if, depending on where you're at in your real estate journey, feel free to do a one-on-one consultation with me and Ronnie, because you get the best of both worlds, and being able to just make sure that you're getting the right information and the right tactic when it comes to making the best decision on where you're at in your real estate journey. So feel free to book a one-on-one session with us on Calendly, Calendly, I believe that's how you pronounce it. But with all that being said, let me go ahead and pass it on to my boy Ronnie to do his hello and intro to you guys.
I am. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great Thanksgiving week. Mortgage Dad over here, down here in South Florida. And always thing is use people local, right? So if you're watching this in California, whatever, find your local team.
Well said, man. Well said. And the key word is team, man. Your team makes a big difference. So all that being said, today we got a couple of TikTok videos that we want to share with you guys, give you guys our critique, perspective, and take on it. And we'll go from there. So
and again, as we watch these videos, leave in the comments any questions, anything you want to talk or dig deeper. We'll be managing the comments, so feel free to put your thoughts in the comments.
People make when buying real estate is just being hell-bent on this idea of putting 20% down. The reality is you really shouldn't put 20% down unless you absolutely have to. And here's the reason why. Because for every $10,000 you put down, it's really only lowering your payment about $50 a month. So it's not really making that big of a difference. You're really better off keeping that money to pay off debt, make other investments, or just keep it for emergencies. The most common mistake I see.
All right.
Yeah, that's good, man. And you can tell me this, Ronnie, on your end, because I know you have more insight on your client's financial overall information. On my end, it's more so they tell me what you're looking for, and depending on what they got pre-approved, I kind of tell them, hey, this is the box that you fit in. Do you ever find yourself kind of bringing that to your client's attention to where, hey, don't have to really put down 20%. How about you, because you do have access to what their debt is to a certain degree, where you can, give them some financial advice. Granted, you are a loan officer, but you do have access to the information.
Yeah. So first, I'll say never is a strong word, right? So I would just to kind of critique that. I wouldn't say never put down 20%, but a lot of people may think you need to put down 20% or that's the best way. And kind of like you said, it all depends on the scenario of the client. So if they do have particular debt, say credit card debt is usually the worst kind of debt out there, because it's high interest, we can have that discussion. Hey, let's put down 15%, 10%, whatever that may be, and can kind of help pay off other debt. So to your point, you're right. Everybody's situation is a little bit different. I have access to obviously all their financials, their debt and whatnot. So yes, usually I bring this conversation up. Not a lot of people do. And another thing I'll add to this is, a lot of people say, I want to put down 20% because I do not want to pay that mortgage insurance. So there are other things out there that you can put as little as, say, 10 or 15% down, and not to get too down this road, but you can buy out your mortgage insurance. So you can do a one lump sum of, X amount of dollars to buy out that mortgage insurance. So if you put down, say, 15%, I'm going to use some round numbers. Say it's going to cost only 2% to buy out that mortgage insurance. So easy numbers, you're going to put down 17%, but yet you're still not paying mortgage insurance. So that 3%, depending on the size of the loan, could go a long way. What I'm really trying to get at is there's many ways to look at this and use your money wisely. And that's what I always say, is use that local team, because a lot of these, I'll just be generic here, online banks or online type aren't going to dig deep into this, right? So you want somebody that really knows what they're talking about and kind of lay down the land of, here's the money you have for a down payment or money, access to money. How can you use it financially savvy to help you?
And you can also say by default, you're almost kind of, somewhat of a financial advisor to a certain degree, because like you said before, you have access to all their financial information, and ultimately you want them to make the best decision when it comes to purchasing their house. And the only way to do so is looking at their entire financial portfolio, seeing where they're at from their debt to their income to their cash that they have in their bank. So I know your job is, is a little bit more, I would say, challenging in minds and to a certain degree, because it's a sensitive subject matter when it comes to people's money.
Yeah. So again, just to kind of wrap up with this video, never is a strong word, but you really want to kind of analyze and really know your options, which really dig deep and then explain, right? I'm just big on education. Here's the options.
Well said.
I'm not going to tell you need to do this. I may say, hey, this is what I think, but ultimately my job is to all the different options that you have there, and you can kind of see what works best for you.
Makes sense. Yep. Education, that's the key, man.
Again, any comments, any questions, put those in the comments. I know this may spark some things of good, bad, or indifferent of what we said. So again, let's start that conversation, put it in the comments. And then now I'm going to put up the other video.
All right.
These things. I'm Rebecca, the mortgage mentor, and I keep it real in real estate. Don't shop without a pre-approval. What that means is that a lender has reviewed your credit, income, and assets, including the documentation that support those numbers. Don't buy big ticket items before buying your home or co-sign for them. Each $50 that you have in other debts limit what you can qualify for by about $10,000. Don't just pay attention to sales price. Sales price matters, but taxes, insurance, and HOA dues can quickly bust your budget. And let me know in the comments any other cautionary tales you've heard. Want to buy a house?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I can tell you, when I have that initial conversation with any of my clients, you politely kind of, know where they're at in their professional life. And then eventually you kind of get to that point where, hey, I would love to show you homes, but the first thing is first, I need to get you pre-approved. It's kind of pointless to even entertain showing you, X amount of homes, and we don't know where you officially land when it comes to being able to purchase a home. So yeah, that pre-approval process is key. That's the number one thing.
Yep. Yeah, and just to piggyback off that, the pre-approvals of process are great because for two reasons. You don't want to waste your time, and you don't want to waste, say, the realtor's time. A lot of times people start looking at houses, and it's an emotional process. So people all of a sudden fall in love with this particular house or this neighborhood, and then maybe all of a sudden they're not approved for that much. Now it's, and then they after looking at houses that may be just a little bit less, and it just makes that process a little more strenuous, right? Which home buying process is strenuous as it is. You really want to make sure you know what that monthly payment is and what the bank will approve you for before you really start looking and fall in love with that particular house.
And one thing I always tell my clients, and this is why it's crucial to have the right people on your team and people that are seasoned and really know what they're doing, is when it comes to including the cost of property taxes. I always find myself having to re-educate my clients when I tell them, hey, what you're going to pay in property taxes is going to be based off of the purchase price of the home today, not what the previous owner paid. So if you look in the tax records and they only paid, $5,000 for their property tax in 2023. It's like, well, yeah, based off that purchase price whenever they bought it. But let me rephrase this. But they're not aware that what they're going to pay moving forward is not going to be $5,000, to where that conversation between the lender and the actual client is so crucial to make sure they put the right numbers in to really verify what they can actually afford. Because I'm pretty certain, you found yourself having those conversations with them. Well, I can buy this home, but you bring to their attention, yeah, you can, but your property taxes won't be $3,000 moving forward. It's going to be twice the amount, which is going to reduce their buying power.
Yeah. So a lot of that, and it's a good point. I always bring that up that, for mortgage purposes, we always qualify them on whatever the current tax bill is. And if somebody has been living there for 30 years, 20 years, that tax bill could be very low. And to your point, those taxes are going to get reassessed usually within a year of the purchase price of whatever they bought the house, which typically means the taxes are going to go up. So approval purposes, we're just using that. But they need to know in the next year their payment is going to increase potentially to X amount more dollars. And then usually I always send them to the county, whatever county they're in, appraiser site. And usually there's a good tool there that you can say, hey, here's my purchase price. If there's any homestead or certain deductions that they may be qualified for, they can click. It's a very easy tool, and then they'll see what their potential current tax bill is to get for it. So it is true, because a lot of people get a rude awakening within a year once their taxes get adjusted, and then again, most of the time it's going up. So you need to be aware of that.
And it's funny, and even for me, that happened to me when I bought my first property. I was like, oh, I'm good. I actually bought it September of that year. So, when I paid the property taxes in November, it was only a portion. And then the following year, when I got my official bill, I said, what the heck? So I had to, I had to re-educate myself. I'm like, it wasn't like an additional $3,000, but like you just said, they had to do the reassessment, and it's all a learning process. We all have to kind of learn and grow through things, and that's what we're here to do, just kind of provide information, allowing you just to learn and grow at your own pace, and making sure that ultimately you're just getting the right information when it comes to where you're at in your real estate journey.
And I think just to wrap this up too, is the three things that she kind of brought out is obviously the pre-approval, which we talked about, which is usually key, so you know where you're at. Two, we just talked about understanding what the property insurance, the homeowner's insurance, and especially here in Florida, homeowner insurance is a whole other topic we can have our own, conversation about for another day. And then the third thing she talked about is kind of the debt you bring on, right? So when you're shopping for a house, a couple things happens. Occasionally someone buys a car and you're like, what are you doing? Because now you've got a car payment, which could influence what you're approved for. And same thing, I always tell people, don't buy the furniture for your house until you close, because most people, either you're going to use your cash to buy it, which could influence your the cash that you have to buy the house, or again, you're putting on a credit card, and then the bank will do, usually within 10 days before you close, a refresh on your credit. And if they see something come up, that could hurt the deal. So couple good
that's
things
huge
when you're looking to buy a house.
And I'm glad you brought that to everyone's attention. Like, the bank will run your credit, what you said, about 10 days prior to closing, just make sure that, hey, you didn't, like you said, buy a car or whatever, any big purchases prior to closing. So yeah,
don't try to outsmart the bank.
Yeah, they've been doing this for a long time. So they're your friend, but at the same time, they're going to do what's best for them ultimately.
So again, love to hear your feedback or even your stories. All right, let us know your stories about, hey, that happened to me, or a year later tax us. We'd love to hear from you, and any topics that you're interested in, let us know. We're trying to give some education and some topics that you guys want to hear about.
Beautiful. I guess with all that being said, man, I just want to wish you guys a happy holiday week, happy Thanksgiving. For those who are traveling, be safe, enjoy this time of the year, because this is usually the time of the year where y'all can, spend some quality time with our loved ones. And I know Ronnie has a couple of things going on his end during this time of the week, along with me. So with all that being said, appreciate you guys' time. Happy Turkey Week, and we will catch you guys next week. Next week's gonna be December too, right? We're going into we're getting out of November, and next week is gonna be December. Wow, one more month in the year.
Crazy. All right,
you ready?